as the Patriots are putting in the work before their season opener against the Eagles this coming weekend. Our George Blechy and Zach Cox have more from Foxborough.
It's officially game week for the Patriots. They open up this week against the Eagles. Zach Cox here with me. I'm George Blechy, right outside of Gillette Stadium. Our first peep of practice for the Patriots as they lead up to their first game of the season. Zach, a good sign to see. It was full attendance, but some key guys really seemed like they were limited participants for the Pats offense.
Yeah, perfect attendance at practice for the first time since last season, which certainly is a positive sign for the Patriots. But as you mentioned, yeah, a couple of projected offensive starters that we're still not fully sure on their status. Devontae Parker, who missed 2 practices last week, was there. He was present. He was in uniform. Didn't really seem to be doing much of anything during the period of practice that we were allowed to watch. Wasn't wearing receiver gloves. Just wasn't really participating in any of the drills. Makes you wonder about his availability for this weekend. Again, I think he's somebody who will start for the Patriots when he's healthy and has the potential to be their number 1 receiver, but he's certainly dealing with something that has been lingering since last week. And then we still don't know on Mike Onwenu and Cole Strange, Patriots' 2 starting guards. They've been back at practice since last week, but reporters aren't allowed to watch full practice during the season, so we don't know their full level of participation. Those are guys that obviously missed a lot of time during the offseason. We'll get our first injury report this afternoon, which should tell us a lot more about all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, Mike Onwenu coming off off-season ankle surgery, and Cole Strange injured his left lower leg, it looked like, throughout training camp, and that's been bothering him. That's something to watch for as they get ready for Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter. You get it. Nolan Smith, the studs for the Eagles.
Not a good week to be shorthanded on the offensive line, certainly.
Really good pass rush. A big name that's been practicing, but last night charges dropped for Jack Jones, full participant in practice. What does that mean for this defense as they now get ready to face, talk about Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith?
Well, Bill Belichick said this morning that he does expect Jack Jones to be available this weekend. There still is the potential for an NFL punishment, NFL discipline down the line, but just based on the way Bill Belichick was talking about it this morning, I would say that seems unlikely. It does seem like Jack Jones is relatively in the clear after this whole legal situation that lasted the last couple of months. And that's big for the Patriots because, as you mentioned, they're going to need him. They play a very talented receiving core this week in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They play a very talented receiving core next week and the week after and the week after. It's really a gauntlet for them to start the year. And when one of your starting cornerbacks is Christian Gonzalez, who is a guy that a lot of us like his potential, but had a little bit of kind of growing pains in training camp, as you would expect from a rookie. It wouldn't be surprising if some of those continued into the regular season. So you need as many horses as you have at cornerback, especially when the lone veteran in that group, Jonathan Jones, missed basically all of training camp with an injury. So having everybody there, everybody healthy, that's going to be huge for the Patriots.
Yeah, as the district court shared for Jack Jones, it wasn't beyond reasonable doubt that he knew about those guns. So it's like, as Alonzo said in training day, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, and that's helping out the Patriots and Jones moving forward. Going back to the offensive side, Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson have spoke so far. Hunter Henry mentoring Bill O'Brien, he said he's bouncing a lot of things off of them in meetings. Ramondre Stevenson said there's a lot of consistency, and he likes that there's input. Sounds like vindication, conviction on that side of the ball calling plays. What are you going to be looking forward to for this week to see Bill O'Brien's debut as a Patriots offensive coordinator?
Yeah, trust and confidence have been 2 big words that we've heard a lot from players when they're describing Bill O'Brien's new Patriots offense. It really seems like players have come in this spring and summer and say, oh, wow, this is what a real NFL offense looks like. I think fans are really going to be struck by just how much of a difference it makes to go from Matt Patricia to Bill O'Brien. This is a guy that's been running high-caliber offenses for over 2 decades. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to adjust. It's just going to be a much more professional, cohesive looking team. I know there are still questions about whether the Patriots have the kind of absolute high-end talent to maybe compete with some of the more talented offenses in the NFL, but I think you're going to see a very large step forward based on what we saw last year.
Yeah, no matter what, I mean, they have depth at talent, all the receivers, 2 tight ends in Gesicki and Henry, and Ramondre Stevenson mentioned it too. Him talking about Ezekiel Elliott, what he looks forward to is that's a guy that's going to keep him fresh, and when Ramondre comes out of the game, he knows there won't be a drop-off in the run game and vice versa. All right, I want to end it with some fun here. Before the season gets underway, who will be your offensive MVP when it's all said and told after 17 weeks, 18 weeks for the Patriots this year?
Mac Jones. I think this is going to be a bounce-back season for Mac Jones. I don't expect him to suddenly rise up into the top echelon of NFL quarterbacks, but I think Patriots fans are going to be a lot more optimistic about Jones by the end of this season. I just think he's a perfect fit for this Bill O'Brien offense. It seems like they've really meshed well with each other. And I think you're going to see a rebound year from Jones, much more similar to what we saw when he was working with Josh McDaniels back as a rookie.
I like that one. For this one, I wanted to say Mac Jones. I love that answer. I wanted to say Trent Brown, but I'm going to go Adrian Clem, offensive line coach for the Patriots. He's going to have a Dante Scarnecchia-esque season, but that's how bad we've seen the offensive line play. Trent Brown, he's unreliable as we've seen, but if he can hang in there, if the offensive line can hang in there, whatever's happening at right tackle and their depth issues, if Clem can coach and overcome it, it'll be huge for this offense.
I think if we're sitting here at the end of the year and the debate is between Mac Jones and Adrian Clem as to who had the better season, I think the Patriots are going to be in a very good spot because those are obviously two of the biggest questions facing them coming into this year.
Also, if Mac Jones is comparable to this bad offensive line, that might be bad too. All right, defensive player of the year, when it's all said and told, end of the season, who would you pick?
It's a chalk pick. It's a boring pick, but I'm still going to say Matthew Judon. He's been by far their best defensive player in each of his first 2 seasons with the team. You always worry about when that kind of regression is going to come for a guy who's getting up there in age. He's over 30. He's getting to the later stages of his career, but he's just been so disruptive. In each of his first 2 seasons, especially as a pass rusher. I think they've found ways to maybe maximize him a little bit more late in the season. You saw him tail off heavily in 2021, saw him tail off a little bit toward the end of last season. I think they managed his workload a little bit this summer, and I think he's going to be better positioned to go a full 17 games and be fully effective this year.
I love that answer because he could also unlock a guy like Josh Uche, who we saw really break out towards the end of last year. Also, rookie Keon White.
Yep.
How good Judon plays will be huge for White.
The depth behind Judon, it was better last year than it was 2 years ago. It should be even better this year now.
I'll go back end of the defense. I'll go Kyle Duggar.
Yep.
You have Christian Gonzalez, your rookie corner, as your top corner. You have Jack Jones opposite of him. With Devin McCourty out, communication, the versatility that Duggar brings. He could be that deep half of the field safety. He could play down to the box. He could cover anyone on the field. He could be great in the run-stopping game. I think Duggar is going to have a huge year. I'll say an all-pro year. I predict that for him. I think he'll be that important, that good for this defense. But to me, I think he'll be defensive MVP, and he has to be in a way.
Yeah, there are players in the Patriots locker room who thought Duggar should have been a Pro Bowler last year. He was right on that borderline level, and as you mentioned, he's probably going to be taking on a larger role this year with Devin McCourty out. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like because there are 4 or 5 different safeties that are all going to kind of chip in to replace McCourty. But if you're talking about from a playmaking perspective, this is a guy that had, 3-4 defensive touchdowns last year. He's just a ball hawk. He's always around the ball with those interceptions and the fumble recoveries and the touchdowns. He's a guy that I think could truly ascend into star level this season.
All the talk of Bill O'Brien this season. Don't forget Gerard Mayo is still the DC. That guy knows his thing, and a guy like Kyle Duggar, he knows where to put him in the right spot to make the right play and make things happen.
A lot of continuity on this defense.
Yeah, love it. All right, so that concludes our first regular season preview of the Patriots season. Keep it locked in with Zach Cox and Dakota Randall all week long and throughout post-game as well. NESN.com, NESN360, NESN YouTube. We have full coverage. Thanks for watching.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.